This is the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show, presented by hiKin. Hiking plus kinship. That's hiKin. Together we roam. Here's your host, my hubby, and co-founder of hiKin, Brian Special.
Thank you, Zena. This is one of those stories that reminds us what this whole thing is about. It's not just about the hike or the training or even the location. It's about all that, sure, but mostly it's about the people. And today, we're celebrating a triumph that was months in the making, told through the eyes of Laurie Bertani, one of 12 women who crossed from South Kaibab to North Kaibab in a single, unforgettable day. Her journey with her 21-year-old daughter, a college athlete, is a testament to what happens when you put in the work, face your fears, and lean into the power of community. You'll hear about sauna training, hydration hacks, pizza on the trail, and one final uphill that demanded everything they had, all while dealing with a crushing fear of heights in a place that will test that fear like few places in the world. Well, one thing that needs mentioning, and this is not to pick on Laurie and her group because they were unaware, and I know plenty of others are as well, but groups of 11 or more are required to have a special use permit to hike in the canyon, because of the impact large groups can have on the fragile canyon ecosystem in a multitude of ways. So if your group has more than 10 people, please make sure to secure a permit. And no, you cannot split into separate groups just to get around that rule. You can find out more on the NPS website or by calling the Backcountry Information Center. I know Laurie was surprised to hear this, but it does provide an opportunity to remind everyone of that rule. And it ultimately doesn't take away from Laurie and her group's accomplishment, because this is not a cautionary tale. This is a celebration, a story of preparation, persistence, and presence. Laurie Bertani and her crew from San Jose, California, on an unforgettable May rim to rim. This is the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show, powered by hiKin. Hiking plus kinship, that's hiKin. Together, we roam. Okay, Laurie, a group of 12 women on a very, how do I say this? Complex experience, because there can be so much that goes into rim to rim, not just the hike itself, not just the training itself, but the logistics involved with putting a rim to rim together. How did this happen that 12 women between the ages of 21 and 57 decided to get together and do a rim to rim, and who was kind of the ringleader, and how did this all come together?
So there was two ringleaders, Christine and Michelle. Who,
that's dangerous.
Yeah,
that's a couple of cooks in the kitchen, huh?
Yeah, definitely. It was a bucket list for them back in September, and they just put down the reservations and said, we're doing this. It was a running group that they talked about it. They did all the planning. They made the reservations. They got the vans. They did everything. And I was a late add-on. They were awesome in the logistics of it all. I'm normally the planner, but they did everything. I just had to train and show up.
And then everything changed at the last second because of the river trail closure. You guys got together and decided to make the change. Instead of going from north to south, instead of going up South Kaibab, which you would have to do this year because of that closure, you guys were able to flip it and go south to north. Now, with a group of 12, there is no way that was an easy task to undertake.
Right. And it was a group of 14. We had reservations at the North Rim on Sunday, and because we were going to start and hike on Sunday. We knew that if we pulled it in a day and hiked on Saturday to end up at North Rim for our reservations, we were probably going to lose two of the people, but we did an anonymous poll, Survey Monkey, just to kind of see where the group was. And there was all but two that wanted to switch directions, switch days. Unfortunately, two of them didn't hike with us, but they hiked the next day. They did the north to south, but they never slept, and they flew in from California, hiked out, and just to experience it, because they did train, but they weren't able to go with our group.
Oh, was there any contention with all that when that change was made?
I think there was a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I unfortunately had to stop running with the group because I hurt my back. But I think there's a little contention in the running group for a little bit, but I think it's smoothed over.
Okay, I hope so. I hope that
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
hard feelings.
Everyone got to experience the canyon.
And maybe on a more normal year, everyone can go back and finally do it together, right? That's what we'll hope for.
Yes.
And you got to do
Yes,
this with your daughter. There were, I think, 5 teams of mothers and daughters on this trip, and you got to do it with your 21-year-old. How was that leading up to it? Were you guys excited? Were you training together? What was happening?
Yeah, so she is a college soccer player. So she was in her spring season. She had expressed interest in wanting to do it as well as a couple of the other daughters. And so I think as spots opened up and people, when it was time to really commit, there was openings for them. And so she was all in, like she loves an adventure. So she did her soccer trainings. She was in spring season, so she was playing a lot of games, but she lives in Ashland. There's tons of hiking up there. A lot of her instructors were really into her journey. So they gave her maps of training to do. So she had to train by herself.
She's up in Oregon, right?
She's up in Oregon. Yeah. She did her thing. She was fine. I knew she was going to be fine, but she did most of the training on her own. And then we went up for her 21st birthday in May, Mother's Day weekend, and hiked our last long hike with her. So it was my husband and I.
Was she trying to hold you accountable? Because I mean, she's a college soccer player. She's got to have pretty elite level of fitness. Was she reaching out to you and just being like, "Mom, are you doing everything you need to do for this, or not? Are you guys just kind of winging it?"
No, she knew because I had my training plan was on the fridge and checking off every boxes, and I was kind of worried about her. I don't know why, but I'm like, "Are you hiking? Have you done a 10-mile yet?" And she's like, "Mom, I'm gonna be fine." But yeah, it was funny. I was probably putting my anxiousness on her, projecting that. But no, it was good. Yeah, she was fine. I was fine, but she knew I was putting in the work because we would be gone for hours and hours on the weekend hiking.
Have you two been to the Grand Canyon before?
I had been to the Grand Canyon a couple times, different stages of my life as a kid, teen, and then in my 20s, and she has never been there. So it was really cool for her.
And she was excited about it.
Very excited, like so excited, giddy about it.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Okay, so you guys get ready to do this. You're going with a big group. The preparation for this thing, for rim to rim, can, on top of logistics like we already talked about, the preparation for it can be pretty overwhelming at times. Did you find that? Did you find that you were, I don't know, looking at too much, consuming too much, maybe stressing yourself out more than you think you should have?
Absolutely. The group I was going with, like I said, they're a running group. They run a few times a week together. We're all very good friends, childhood friends. We've raised our kids together. And I was not at their level of fitness at all when I decided to join. And so I was really contemplating if I should do it or not. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to hop in and start training with them or I would get frustrated.
How long did you have to get ready?
I started in December.
Okay.
So, but my plan that I followed was a 12-week plan. So I was just at that point, I was just walking and doing Pilates. I wasn't doing anything else because I had hurt my back. So my go time was like March 8th is when my 12-week plan started and where I just followed every single day. Yeah, my husband said he would do every single hike with me and he's a mountain biker. So he knew what trails to do and how long they were. So he did every hike with me. And then my program ramped up to when they were doing their long run. So I was able to do a couple hikes with them at the end. So it was mostly, I was on my own. The group was hiking a lot together, but I checked in with them. They knew what I was doing and I knew what they were doing.
The hikes made up a big part of what you were doing, kind of the foundation of your program. That 12-week program, I'm interested in that. Where did you find that? And what were you trying to accomplish with that program? And what kind of exercises were you doing? And did they ultimately help?
Yeah. So it was the team in training, couch to rim, because I feel like I was going from the couch to the rim. And I was a college soccer player too. And the past few years, I really kind of got out of shape and was kind of disappointed in myself and kind of was about to throw in the towel, like this is going to be my life. And then my friends were like, do this with us. I didn't think I'd be able to. But when my husband said he would train with me, because I was afraid of doing it by myself, he was like, no. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I know I can do it. I've hiked, done a lot of things, hard things. But I over-researched. I listened to every single one of your podcasts, which were super helpful because I had hours and hours on the trail, and those were so helpful. I watched a lot of videos, looked at a lot of Facebook groups and everything. So I feel like I probably stressed myself out a little bit more than I needed to. Like even up to the end, one of the girls in the group was like, let's just stop looking at the Facebook group. Because we were trying to figure out what time we were going to leave. And I was, some of us were like, let's leave at 2 a.m. And like Brian and Coach Arnie say that you don't always have to leave at 4 a.m. So it was a funny conversation. But yeah, I definitely... the training was 2 hikes on the weekends, and those both ramped up. And then it was a longer one on Saturdays, a shorter one on Sundays. And then I did stairs on Tuesdays. I did backwards walking uphill because I did talk to Coach Arnie on Wednesdays. And then Thursdays and Fridays were kind of like a cross training. So I did some Peloton, Pilates. The only thing I wish I probably would have done different is maybe weighted step-ups, because the stairs I was going to a local hospital in the parking garage and just kind of going up and down those stairs. So they were like narrow. They wasn't like big, like getting out of the canyon steps. So it was every day was something, and the rest day was just a mile walk. So the Mondays were a mile walk. And then the rest, I did something every day.
Yeah, I mean, the plan doesn't have to be perfect, right? I mean, the plan has to be a commitment to doing something, right? And to keep moving forward and building that, not only your body, but your confidence. Like when I get there, I know I'm going to be ready to do this, because this is a big undertaking, but at least knowing in the back of my mind, I put in the work. That means so much, no matter what the work happens to be. Okay. So you all get to the canyon, 12 of you. Your husband's there, I think you told me, as a driver, which is cool.
Yeah.
That's very helpful.
3 years.
So what happened the night before? And, kind of take us through that, because that's pretty exciting. Everybody's getting all amped up. There are 12 of you. You got this bucket list adventure you're about to drop in on. What's happening? Paint the picture for us.
Yeah, so we flew in to Flagstaff, and then some of the group flew in. My friend Christine, who was one of the ringleaders, her daughter lives in Flagstaff and does the canyon quite a bit. And with her girlfriend, they were the kind of the ones that told us what to do and how to train. And they were just like done several hikes in the canyon. And so we met there. The rest of the group flew into Phoenix, rented a van. And so we all met in Flagstaff and then drove in together. So there's 3 husbands that were our drivers. And then we got to South Kaibab. We stayed at Maswick Lodge. My husband, my daughter, a couple other people had never been to the canyon. So it was just so cool to walk out and just look at the canyon. And then I got a little nervous looking across. I'm going to walk across that right now or tomorrow. And it was incredible. It was, yeah. So we ate at the El Tovar. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yeah,
the restaurant there
yeah.
was, yeah. And none of us had one drink. We all had mocktails. It was so disappointing. But we were ready to go. It was beautiful views. So we walked around, took pictures, and we went to bed pretty early because we wanted to get an early start.
What was the plan for the morning?
Wake up at 3 and be out in the vans at 3:30 with everyone's bags out as well, labeled, because they were going to try to check us into the North Rim on the other side. So we left the parking lot at 3:30, and then we got to the trailhead and dropped into the canyon about 3:45.
How excited were you guys to all get started? I mean, I imagine 12 women up there, there had to be a lot of adrenaline and everyone just excited to go. And then boom, finally somebody's like, all right, let's go. And you got this trail of headlamps headed down the chimney there. What was that experience like, just dropping in and my gosh, we're actually doing this? Yeah,
when we were in the van, you could feel like a little bit of nervous, excited, I think there were some of us that were really nervous. And then I think there were some that just like, let's just go. Let's just walk. Like my daughter, she's like, we're just walking. I'm like, we're hiking into the canyon. But when we were dropping in, it was, we were like, I said what you said. I'm like, going down's optional, getting out's mandatory. And that's like, I videotaped this all dropping into the canyon. So it was exciting. But once, just like I said, I played college soccer too. Once you kick the ball, the nerves go away and you just got to go get it done.
Celebrate your Grand Canyon adventures with our unique line of tees, hoodies, and more at hiKin.club. From rim to rim to Victor Vomit, you're sure to find something to satisfy your Grand Canyon obsession. That's at hiKin.club. hiKin. Together we roam.
So you're going down South Kaibab, which you've listened to. Yeah, it's dark at the beginning. You're going down South Kaibab, which you've heard me talk about endlessly about how amazing it is. I'm curious if those descriptions matched what you saw when the sun started to come up and what that experience was like.
Oh, it was absolutely incredible. I am very scared of heights, so I was glad that most of the steep cliffs were probably in the dark. I didn't look over. I knew they were there, so I just kept walking. But we did get the sun. I mean, it was just beautiful. The sunrise, the moon was like the crest moon, and it was just the pictures we got. I mean, it doesn't do any justice, but that twilight, it was just something I've never experienced. It was gorgeous. And the stars when we left were I've never seen so many stars. My daughter said the same thing. I mean, Ashland's a town that's kind of in the mountains, but she's like, I've never seen, you could just see the Big Dipper, the Milky Way, the Seven Sisters. It was incredible. So it was such a great experience, something I've never experienced.
Yeah, so hiking in the dark's not so bad, is it? I
No.
mean, there's still something you can take from that as well.
Yeah.
So it was going to be a hot day, as most days are, I assume. It was going to be a hot day. May 24th, I think you all did it. So were you planning on heat, and did you have a strategy in place for that?
Yeah, we definitely watched the weather. It was really hot, I think, a few days before, and we were getting nervous. I did do some sauna training with another girl in our group. We would just go sit in a hot sauna and march around and just try to get used to the heat. I did a lot of my trainings in the afternoon, just to kind of instead of the mornings, just to have some of that exposed sun and heat. Was nothing like Arizona heat. But we, had everything that was recommended, the froggy towel, the shirts, the Patagonia shirts and everything. We had all that. We wet in every opportunity we could, the creeks, the rivers, lots of water. I have your backpack that you created, which I love. And
thank you. I
put a 3 liter bag, and a 2 liter. So I had electrolytes in my 2 liter and water in my 3 liter in the.
Wait, you had a 3 liter bladder and a 2 liter bladder?
Yes.
They both fit in the hydration compartment?
Yeah, and then they have
let's go.
Yeah.
I have not heard that. I know we could fit it. I had no idea we could fit 5 liters in there. So people, the rim to rim pack, come on, it's the deal, right?
It is. And it kept my coffee cold at the bottom. Everything was cold. Like I put everything in there too. So it was my husband's idea. He's like, there's 2 things for your spigots. And I'm like,
yes.
Yeah, no,
there's one on each side.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now this makes my day. I had no idea, number 1, that you had our pack.
Yes.
And number 2, that you packed 5 liters into our insulated hydration compartment. It kept everything cold, and you used both exit points for the hose.
Yep. Yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
This interview's over. We don't need to go any. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate hearing that. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for sharing that. So
it was great.
And also, that's an interesting idea, carrying 2 bladders, one with electrolytes and one with just regular water. It's not something that had occurred to me.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
And I filled it with ice in the morning, and then I got the bag of ice at Phantom Ranch. So my water and electrolytes were cold the entire time, the whole time.
And how much that had to make a difference. Because nobody likes that warm water that they're drinking, right?
Yeah.
So you got the ice at Phantom, which is $6.50 for a 10-pound bag, and might be the best money you can spend in all of Arizona.
100%. Yeah, the 2 lemonades and the bag ice is $20. My daughter and I filled it, and then we gave the rest of the ice to whoever wanted it. But everything was ice cold the entire hike. It was best. It was the best.
Oh man, you guys did that right.
Yeah.
That makes such a difference.
And I'm an ice girl. I have to have ice in all my drinks all the time. So that was, it was the best.
So you guys get to the bottom. How'd you feel about the trip down? Because you said, down is optional, up is mandatory, but down is also difficult. It can be really hard on your knees and hard on your joints. You were probably prepared for something like that to happen. Did it happen, or do you feel like your legs were pretty good when you got to Phantom?
So I feel like a lot of us were a little bit shaky in our quads. I didn't really have any soreness on my knees or anything, like maybe a twinge every once in a while in my quad, but the going down was okay for me. I know some other people in our group, like one of the girls' backs hurt, and then there was some knee pain, but nothing that wasn't gonna, make us not continue. But like I said, I'm scared of heights, and I saw the bridge, and I don't like bridges. So and
Black Bridge?
yes, yeah. So I saw that, and then that's all I was thinking about. I wasn't thinking about how my body felt.
But you made it across okay.
Yep.
You got to Phantom. You got your ice. Now you guys are starting through the box and the frying pan, the places that are very, very difficult to be on a hot day. How was the weather at that point? What time of morning was it? Were you still in the shade?
Yeah, so we got to Phantom Ranch at 8 in the morning, sat down, had our lunch, filled up, went to the bathroom and everything, and then headed out. But right before we headed out, a big cloud cover came and a little bit of breeze. So we're like, let's go. So we made it. It wasn't bad. It was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, that part of the hike was, it was so different every stage of that hike, but I enjoyed it too, because there was no cliffs.
But there's that.
Yeah.
Oh, but those are coming. Those are coming, Laurie.
Yeah.
So you get through unscathed. I'm curious about how it is hiking with a group that big of 12 women. Did everyone stay together? Did you break into groups? Was there a strategy beforehand?
So we definitely talked before, and everybody was very honest. And there was part of the group just wanted to get through and go, and they did not want to take pictures and said, they just wanted to hike. And then there was some of us that wanted to stop, and a few of us, like, we just want to enjoy it. We're not on a time. We don't need to finish in a certain amount of hours or anything. We just want to take it all in, videos. And I was going to blog the whole thing. So I knew I was going to take more pictures and videos. So our group split up pretty much at tip off, because we stopped to get a bathroom, and they wanted to get going. So they went, and then our meeting place was Phantom Ranch. So we met them at Phantom Ranch, but they had been there probably for about 25, 30 minutes. So when we got there, we wanted to chill out a little bit. So then they took off. So we had like meeting spots along the way. They were not going to do Ribbon Falls. And some of the people in my group, so the group that stayed back was 3 moms and then our daughters. So so one mom had 2 daughters, my daughter Miller, and my friend Heather and her daughter, and Michelle and Molly and Megan. So we stayed back. We were the picture takers.
So you split up into groups of 6.
Yes.
So you split in half, basically.
Yeah, we were. Yep.
And was that okay? Was everyone cool with that?
Absolutely.
You guys talked about it. You came up with what's important to each of you, and everybody got to hike their own hike.
Absolutely, 100%. There was nothing and we were like, you go. When Ribbon Falls Junction came, the group I was with, they were all, no, let's do it. It's right there. And I knew what was ahead, and I knew, like, just mentally and physically with the heights and stuff, I needed to conserve my energy. So I said, I'm going to go. You guys go do Ribbon Falls. I'll meet you at Cottonwood. And my daughter was like, no, I'll stay with you. We had walkie-talkies, so we were totally connected. And I said, no, you got to go. So they did that. And then 2 of the people in the front group waited for me there just to make sure that I got there. And then they had been there for, I think, 45 minutes. And I said, you guys just go. I'm going to be fine. Like, I'm here. And everyone's so nice down there. I mean, I met so many great people. And then the group was taking a little bit longer, because I didn't think they were expecting they had to, like, go over the river or more rock hopping to get to the falls. Yeah. So I walkie-talkied them. I said, I'll just meet you up at Manzanita. And so I was up there waiting for them, and we hooked up and then went from there.
Tell me about the walkie-talkies. Did everyone have a walkie-talkie? How did that work, and how did they work in the canyon? It can be difficult.
And that was one of our most memorable things, just like the bantering back and forth. And we called ourselves like the back 7 and the front 6. And we were on station 3, and it worked. I mean, we were in contact the whole time. It was great. And then
no kidding,
my husband had one outside of the canyon. So sometimes he could, I don't know how, but sometimes he could hop into the conversation too.
Really?
Yeah.
Did everyone have one?
There was 12 of us. We had 6 walkie-talkies. So each pair had a walkie-talkie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it actually worked.
It worked, and it was funny.
Yeah. That had to add to the experience.
It did. Yeah. Yeah. It was great.
And you never lost contact, even with in the separate groups?
No.
We
always were in contact. Everyone checked in with everybody. We knew when people were finishing. We knew when people got through, like, crossed the bridge or whatever. So everybody we were constantly checking in with each other. There was never a part where we didn't know where anybody was. And we just made sure everybody was feeling good. And we talked about that at the beginning. Like, we just have to be honest. Like, and we had a thing like, well, if you start getting in a lull, what does that mean? Do you want us to tell you to eat or just be quiet, put on your music? We kind of all shared what we would need or want, and it worked out great.
Well, what a great idea for those walkie-talkies. I always endorse the Frog Tog chili pad, the Katadyn Bee Free filter. If it's something that's really good, we'll talk about it in here and in the group as well. So what is the brand of walkie-talkie? Because these are Canyon tested. Do you know what they are?
I knew you were going to ask me, and I have no idea, but I can find out.
She's looking around right now.
I can find out.
I tell you what, folks. We will put that. Laurie will find it out, and I will put what the brand of walkie-talkie is in the show notes of this episode. And we will also, if she doesn't come up with that, she's looking right now. If she doesn't come up with it by the end of this episode, we'll put it in the show notes, and we'll also talk about it in the group regularly because it's a topic that comes up often.
Yeah, it was a great Christmas present.
Yeah. What were you guys doing for fueling?
Breaking Canyon news, hike reports, and answers to all your questions. Find it all in our hiKin Grand Canyon Facebook group. Inside, you'll have access to Brian, Coach Arnie, and just about everyone you've ever heard on this show, all there in a safe, judgment-free space geared to root each other on and help you have your best possible Grand Canyon experience. The hiKin Grand Canyon Facebook group is the official group of the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show and is completely free to join. Just search for hiKin, HIKIN, Grand Canyon on Facebook, and join the conversation today.
We talked about your hydration and your multiple bladders that you had and taking care of your electrolytes. What about food?
I just kind of always thought like peanut butter and jelly and like that's going to be my sandwich. And then I think on one of your podcasts, it was like paydays and things like that. But then there was one, I think you and Buffy and Arnie, and you talked about pizza. And I'm like, oh, that sounds good. So my daughter and I ordered a pizza the night before. And so everything seems to be sweet, like all the snacks. I mean, we did the peanut butter pretzels and the goldfish and stuff too, but the pizza, we had 2 pieces of pizza and then a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And those were our core food. And then we had meal bars. We had the salt stick chews, gummies. I did have paydays, jelly beans, Jolly Ranchers, but then like goldfish. We had some Sun Chips. Some people had Pringles and trail mix and stuff. So when we were hiking, for me, the sweet stuff did not taste good. So I needed more salty stuff. And there was a few of us who were like, I don't want to see another gummy ever again.
How did you pack the pizza?
Just put it in Ziploc. I put it in my insulated thing, and it was with my water.
And it worked.
It worked. It was great.
By the way, it's nice to talk about sweets and gummies and all the salt, because Canyon calories don't count.
Exactly.
You see, They don't. This is part of the fun, is that you get to eat like you maybe normally would not and not have to worry about it, because all you're doing is fueling. So more power to you. Walkie-talkies, pizza, double bladder. Man, we are learning some things today. Okay, so your group goes to Ribbon Falls. You're waiting for them at Cottonwood. Then finally everyone shows up, and now you guys get your way to Manzanita, because that's where the serious hike starts. So when you all get to Manzanita, what time of the day is it, and what's the plan?
So it is probably 3 o'clock at Manzanita. Maybe 2 or 3. I got to Manzanita first because I left Cottonwood. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep going and then get to Manzanita. I hung out there for probably a half an hour waiting for the rest of the group, met people, refueled. I had a double shot coffee at the bottom of my insulated area, and it was ice cold. So I drank that and had a bar, got ready. Looking at the map, preparing my mind and my body, what I was about to do. And I still swear it's not 5.7 miles, but yeah, everyone got there. They got there. The water said it was going to be off there that day, but it wasn't. So that was nice. Everyone filled up, went to the bathroom, fueled up, and then went on our way. We were in touch with the rest of the group that was ahead of us. And we were surprised because I feel like we were probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours behind them. We were surprised that like they hadn't finished yet. Because in my head, it was like 2 miles an hour, kind of, that's what our time is going to be. And that's not what
No, things are going to slow down going up from Manzanita. So did you notice that right when you stepped on the trail from Manzanita that, oh, wow, now this is suddenly different, because you've gone downhill, you've gone gradually like flat and then to gradual uphill. And now from Manzanita, okay, here's the incline and it's not going to stop.
Yeah. And I remember like hiking for like an hour And then you start asking people like, where are we now? And somebody's like, no, it's like 4 miles. I'm like, four? No, it should be three. According at that point too, my watch everything had died. So it was just, us and hiking. And I'm like, I'm not asking another person because you would get every single different answer.
You're not going to like the answer.
No,
you're just not.
Yeah.
So you get up from, past Roaring Springs, and now as someone who has a fear of heights, okay, here we go. The eye of the needle.
Yeah.
Right? The trail cut into the side of the Redwall limestone cliff. And we're talking about drop-offs of hundreds of feet for quite a ways.
Yeah.
It feels, as someone who's not afraid of heights, it feels safe the entire way. The trail is well maintained. It's wide. But that's easy for me to say. I certainly understand those of you that have a fear of heights. It's a real thing. So this is what you were dreading. So when you see this start to appear, this iconic section of the Grand Canyon, this iconic section of the North Kaibab Trail, but it's iconic because it looks so dangerous in photos. What are you thinking? What's going through your mind, and how are you going to get through this?
Definitely nervous. And it's funny, like after the hike, my best friend, childhood friend, Heather, was with us and her daughter, and she has known my fear of heights forever. I think she talked to my daughter and she goes, your mom's gonna have a really hard time with this section. So let's stay close, but I didn't want anybody around me because that just made me nervous. So she's like, we're going to slow down and let her go. And at that point, I never felt like I was going to fall over, but the fear of heights is a real thing and it's almost paralyzing. And the mental, and then my body was like shaking. So I'm like, so then felt like I was walking like a sloth too. And I had one hand on the wall, and it's kind of, my daughter has a picture of it, but I knew I could do it. And it just took a little bit longer. And my friend Heather, I just looked at her. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I'm going so slow. And she just burst into tears. And she said, you do not need to be sorry. She's like, I'm just so proud of you for doing this. She's like, stop apologizing. Let's just get out of here. So that took some relief too, because I was feeling bad. I'm like, I'm going so slow. I know that they're like, let's go. But they weren't. They were just like, I wouldn't want to be here with anybody else. And then when she said that, I was like, okay. And then got through it. I mean, I was very proud of myself. It was scary. It was like my legs were shaking more than going downhill 7 miles.
Man, that had to mean so much to you, have that support of your group.
Yeah. It was definitely something that got announced on the walkie-talkie. Laurie made it.
Was there a lot of encouragement from everyone else after that announcement went out?
Oh, yeah. Because I didn't really share my fear of heights too much. I mean, like I said, my childhood friend knew, my daughter knows. But, right before we left, my friend, the couple that lives in Flagstaff, I'm like, well, I'm scared of heights and I'm scared of bridges. And one of them just looked at me. She goes, what? Like, do you know what you're going to be doing tomorrow? So, yeah, it was something, and one of the messages I really want to get out to a lot of people, like, if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I am paralyzed at heights. Like, I want to get down on my hands and knees and just crawl. So
how did you prepare yourself for that mentally? Because you knew this was coming for a long time, for not just on the trail, but 6 months out, you knew what this was going to entail, that you were going to have to face your fear. So how did you mentally get yourself ready for that?
Yeah, I did listen to one of your podcasts about the woman from Australia who was scared of heights. I listened to her and she was talking about the exposure therapy. So I watched a lot of videos. I looked at a lot of photos. Some freaked me out more than others. My other daughter goes to school in Hawaii. And so we went out there and did some hikes. And out in Hawaii, they're very technical, very steep, lots of cliff drop-offs and stuff. So we did a lot of that just to kind of I think mentally just okay, I can do this. I'm not going to die. I think the fear of heights is I'm just going to die, or I want to kind of jump off the cliff. It's a weird thing. And so just putting myself outside my comfort zone to know that I could do. I mean, I've hiked Half Dome. That's with those cables and stuff. I just kind of mind over matter. I knew I would do it. I just wasn't expecting my body to react the way it was. Plus you're exhausted too at that point too. So it might've been intense, but just watching a lot of videos and looking at, pictures and talking to people. We have some really good friends that did it the year before. And a few of them were scared of heights, and they're like, no, it's not that bad. And, I mean, it was that bad, but.
It's interesting you say that, though, that you've done other steep hikes. You can picture Half Dome and how steep and scary that can be. You've done that. Now you've done the Grand Canyon. So I guess it's pretty clear, that it's not something that goes away. It's something that you just learn to deal with. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely. Because you're going to miss out on a lot of stuff if you don't go do it. And I'm all about adventure and bucket lists and let's get this done. So, I wouldn't let my fear of heights stop me from doing something. It might not be the most fun in the moment, but I'm like forever grateful that I got included in this group and did this hike. It was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. So, it was worth it.
And what a great message to send to your daughter that she got to see that. She got to see you overcome that. I mean, that'll have a lasting impression too.
Yeah, definitely. I think she went back to school and all her instructors and her soccer coach was like, how'd your mom do? She's like, she killed it.
Words out on you, Laurie.
Yeah.
So how did the rest of the hike go? You conquer that section. That had to feel really good and give you a little bit of a boost for the rest of the hike, I would guess.
Definitely. Like I said, it did take longer than we expected.
Shade can save your life. That's why we invested in the Grand Canyon Shade Tracker, a completely free tool that lets you see when and where you'll have shade on your hike, no matter the trail, no matter the day, no matter the time. Plan your hike around maximizing your time in the shade and stay safe from the brutal canyon sun. The Grand Canyon Shade Tracker is brought to you free of charge by hiKin Grand Canyon, and you can find it at gcshadetracker.com. That's gcshadetracker.com. Go on, hunt that shade, and have a happier hike.
There is that one section where you start going downhill and we're like, why are we going down? Like, no, we were kind of getting
giving
mad.
It all away.
And then we realized that we were going to have to eat a little bit more because it was taking us longer to get out. But then we just couldn't wait to get to Supai Tunnel. And we're like, where is the tunnel? Like where, and there's like, slowly you're starting to see more and more people taking rests on the side, and you're seeing people that you had met along the way. And some people were struggling. And then, I had a lot of water and I had a lot of snacks. And so I did give a few snacks away to some people. But the nice thing is even that people were checking in on me too. Like everyone is looking out for everybody. So, but that last 2 miles was something else.
It's funny you mentioned that downhill. I want to go back to that real quick because you mentioned that downhill. That does come out of nowhere. And when you're going the other direction, when you're going downhill, you suddenly have an uphill, right?
Yeah.
But it's funny that downhill, that you get to that downhill and that ends at another one of your fears. It ends at the Red Wall Bridge.
Right, exactly. And we were just like,
thanks.
What is happening right now? Yeah, we like, it was funny. And then you're looking up and you're like, how are we getting out of here? Like you just see the cliffs. I'm like, I don't understand how we're getting out of here. And and like I said, I think at that point, like my music was everything had died, like my phone, my music, everything but the walkie-talkie. So it was just going and grinding through. And it was at that point, it was my friend Heather, her daughter Amy, and my daughter Miller, and myself, and then the other mother-daughter. They were just about like 15-20 minutes ahead of us. But Heather, they waited for me for that cliff walk.
The cliff walk that you conquered. And when you do get to Red Wall Bridge, you mentioned looking up and wondering how you're going to get out of there. That is so true. That is probably the steepest section of North Kaibab. When you get to Red Wall Bridge and you look up to get to Supai Tunnel, you're under 3 miles when you get to Red Wall Bridge. So there is that. It's about 2.6 miles and just right at a mile or a little less to Supai Tunnel. But you look up and man, it's like, whoa, that's steep. And I know the tunnel's up there somewhere, but that is a steep climb. So you get to Supai Tunnel, 1.7 miles from the top now. When you get to Supai, is that when it's like, okay, we just about have this slayed?
So right before Supai Tunnel, my daughter kind of looks up and she points up. She goes, I think that's Dad up there. And she was like pointing straight up. And I'm like, is it? And it was him. He had met us like before Supai Tunnel. And that gave us like, oh, we were all crying and yay, you're here. And it was just like amazing. And
what's his name?
Keith.
Good job, Keith.
Yeah.
Way to go, man.
And so he was, he took videos and we took some pictures and stuff too. He made shirts and hats for our crew. So he's very good supporter of our group. And he gave us a little boost. And then it was just like him kind of pacing us a little bit too, because we were all pretty, beat. And And then he was just like, there's 4 more switchbacks, because he was kind of counting down. And then there was that one part, and I'm like, oh my God, 4 more. Okay, we can do this. And then we got to the end, and when you just turn, and I get chills thinking about it. Like, our crew is waiting for us there, which was amazing because they finished a few hours before us. There was a lady with the cowbell. There was posters. There's people. I felt like I just finished a marathon, and it was just like so surreal. And we were just walking up, and he videotaped the whole thing. We all finished together, and then our group was right there waiting for us, and it was incredible. I mean, we just all like ugly cried at the end. We just couldn't believe we did it. Yeah, it was incredible. It was so fun. And then at the end, like, couldn't believe it. Like, there was parts where I'm like, wow, this is going to be hard, but you got to get through it. And, but that finish was probably the highlight of just seeing all our friends there and the husbands there. And, and then the lady with the cowbell, it was amazing. I think she was with another group, but she sat there for hours and just cheered everybody on.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
What a great community. And that is so appreciated. Yeah. When you're finishing that, imagine finishing that with no one up there. Would have just been a different experience, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So how was that finishing with your daughter? I mean, that had to mean something to you guys.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, and my friend, Heather, and our 2 daughters are best friends. Me and Heather are best friends, and then we see all our other best friends and their daughters all there. It was just incredible. I mean, when we finished, I was just bawling, and then just saying like that was like the hardest thing we've ever done, but the coolest thing we've ever done. And yeah, it was just, I was so happy to share it with her and the whole group. It couldn't have been a more perfect group. It was great. Just so supportive. And, it was just a great, awesome way to finish. And just the 2, Michelle and Christine, who are spearhead, it came right up to us, handed us a beer, and it was heaven.
Oh, that must have been nice.
Yes, it was great. And then we had reservations at the North Rim Lodge that night for dinner. Beautiful. Which was hard because you're like, not feeling great, like your stomach. Well, my stomach, especially, I'm like, I don't want a big steak or anything right now, but it was so nice. Yeah. Did the kebab shuffle.
What? Oh, you earned that shuffle. Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. What an amazing experience. What did your daughter come out of that with in terms of being the 21-year-old elite, in shape, college athlete, who thought that this might not be that big of a deal, Mom, we got this. But how did she handle it physically, do you think? She
was great. Like, she was awesome. Like, our end of our group photo at the end, we're all taking it. We all kind of look like we hiked the Grand Canyon, and she like looks like she just started. And that blood, I posted on Facebook, I think, and a lot of people are like, Miller looks like she's just starting the canyon. But she was great. She, definitely said she's glad she trained, but the young kids, 2 of the girls, 2 of the other daughters, one's in Boston and one's in college still. And they're like, I didn't really hike that much, but they're just resilient, and they're all athletes. They all played sports all their life. And they definitely, like, my daughter is going to do it again with my husband, and they're going to go the way that we were originally going to go. So she's like, I'll do it again. I'm like, okay, I'll drive.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be a great experience for you too.
Yes. Yeah.
It sounds like you got some canyon obsession going on all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't need to do it again right now in my head, but there's things I would love to go down and maybe stay at Phantom Ranch for a night, like do more camping, and then not doing it all in a day. It was an incredible experience. You can't even really describe it, and the pictures don't do justice.
Well, what is the ultimate takeaway from this? What will you look back from a year from now and remember? Because it's only been, going on 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is soaked in, I'm sure, but the perspective might come later. What do you think you'll take away from this? Just with a group of friends and with your daughter, conquering your fear of heights and overcoming just an enormous physical challenge that is hiking rim to rim in the Grand Canyon. What's the takeaway ultimately?
Yeah, no, and our group will be forever bonded 100%. I mean, we're all close as it was, but like just experiencing that together, and the friendships and the conversations and just the bond that we have together, like, we'll never forget that. And same with my daughter. Like, she went to school with the other girls, but they all went to different colleges, and they hadn't been together for the last 4 years. Like, they hadn't really seen each other. So good for them to reconnect. their plans to hang out after they all graduate and stuff. So it's just a bond. It was a forever memory. It was the perfect group. I know some people thought it was like too big, but I think that, we were just really honest with each other and what we wanted to do. We want to hike our own hike. And it was truly like the end was amazing just to see them. I wasn't expecting them to be there because I knew that they had finished a few hours before. So I mean, it was just perfect. It was just so great to see them at the end, and then just all us being together. And yeah, it'll be a forever memory. Just incredible. I'm just proud of us all because everyone conquered something at some way, injuries during the training or just demons in your head. And everyone had something going on with them during our training. So for us to all train and then get through that 12 people we thought for sure people would drop like flies towards the end, but we didn't. It was cool. It was the coolest thing we've ever done and the hardest thing we've ever done.
Laurie Bertani, a lifetime achievement and one packed with takeaways. Here are the big three that pop out to me. Number one, she brought her fear with her and she hiked anyway. Laurie didn't conquer her fear of heights before stepping onto the trail. She carried it all with her, but she didn't freeze. She kept on moving. There are some rough stretches out there, and that kind of courage isn't loud, but it is steady, and it is earned. And boy, did she earn it. Way to go, Laurie. Number two, the right tools can keep a group together. When you've got 12 women spread across the canyon, some pushing ahead, some pulling back, it's easy to lose contact. But Laurie's group stayed connected using walkie-talkie, simple, effective, and overlooked by most. In a place where cell service doesn't exist, this little move really did make a big difference. Those walkie-talkies, by the way, the Midland X-Talker T50. The Midland X-Talker T50. Now, the T51 is the newest model and the one that will likely pop up when you do a search. They're only about $60 a pair. The Midland X-Talker T50. I might have to add those for myself. Number three, doing something hard with someone you love changes you both. Laurie and her 21-year-old daughter crossed the canyon together. It wasn't just a physical challenge, it was a shared emotional high, a deep exhale after months of training and nerves. And when it was over, well, you heard it. Laurie said it clearly. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. And her daughter said it was the hardest but coolest thing we've ever done. That's not just a hike. That is a life memory. Well, Coach Arnie is talking about another life memory this time, one born of Coach's number one secret weapon for Grand Canyon hiking and a better daily life.
This week, we're going to kind of review something I've talked about many times. It's the big secret, which is walking backwards. So I want you to lean in close because it's the secret to everything. That's exactly right. Let me explain. First of all, one of Coach Arnie's pet peeves when it comes to walking backwards is this phrase, I'll work it in, which I always reply, just do it. Everyone I work with does it. That means they pull and walk backwards every single time that I work with them. Period. End of story. And I'm not saying it's the only way, but it's a way that's pain-free because it does so many things as far as pelvic stability, hamstring strength, your knee stability, your feet, everything, posture, you name it, it does it. End of story. Full stop. Okay? So here's what we do. This is the minimum, 10 to 15 minutes. You can use a treadmill. You can do it flat. You can do sleds like we have, where you have resistance. You can push a car, or you can walk up a hill backwards. Everything works as long as you do it and as long as you're intentional about doing it. If you're not intentional about doing it, then you're working it in, and I can't guarantee anything, okay? And let me finish with a quick story of a gentleman. His name is Nate. I don't even think Nate's in our group, but Nate came to me a few weeks ago with some debilitating knee pain that he was having, and we talked, and we couldn't get together, but I shared with him about walking backwards, which he took to heart because he really wanted to complete an R3. And he just started doing it every night in front of his house, every single night. And this is while he was still under some therapy, and he hadn't even spoke to the doctor yet to get clearance for his trip. But he was religious about it over the last few weeks. And last weekend, he sent me a picture of his watch after he completed an R3. Now, I'm not saying it's the only reason that he completed it, but I'll tell you this. His thank you told me enough, because adding on walking backwards made his trip possible, because he was already doing everything else. Adding on walking backwards made his R3 possible. Could it make yours possible as well? I don't know. Have you done it yet? Have you been intentional about doing it? Time will tell. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.
Well, it does feel funny at first, but this backward walking thing is definitely a thing. That's Coach Arnie Fonseca Jr. If you're interested in working with our resident exercise physiologist and canyon coach, his contact information is in the show notes. All right, that's it for now. My name is Brian Special, encouraging you, as always, to go hike the canyon. Take that first step. Embrace the journey. And when you get there, whether it's for time goals or taking your time, just hike your own hike and savor every step in the magnificent Grand Canyon. We'll see you next time on the Grand Canyon Hiker Dude Show, powered by hiKin. Hiking plus kinship, that's hiKin. Together, we roam.